Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 890, Halo 220, recorded live on November 7th, 2024. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Duststorm.
I'm your other co-host, Godzilla T.
And it's been a little while since we've had a podcast. There hasn't been too much to talk about. There's been some updates and things, but I've been busy. Work has been super stressful. I had to go in 2 days, both last week and this week, including today, and sickness around the house here, so things have just been life getting in the way for the most part. So we have been streaming Cursed Halo for ODST. We've been diving into that during the off weeks for the podcast. So if you have a chance to hop on over to Twitch, check us out on Thursdays. If we're not recording the podcast, it's likely we're playing a mod on MCC. Once we get through some of the other mods, hey, I play some fan games and mods too. I'd like to jump into some of those, especially since we haven't looked at them in over 3 years.
Yeah. They've probably come a long way since then.
There's quite a few that have. And we also need to kind of touch base with some of them, get our hands into some of the Unreal experiences that the community has pulled together. Grab a basis for that, especially now since Halo Studios is moving to Unreal for future projects, at least for the mainline games. Get a feel for it. Talk about how Unreal might be a good fit, might not be a good fit with some of the community members that have been doing Halo projects on it. So that's the goal to get to, hopefully kind of coming out of the gate next year and really trying to get a feel from the community of, okay, is Unreal going to be a good fit for Halo in the long term? With that said, we've gone through the first 3 missions, I think, of ODST Cursed on our off streams. We've gone through the Buck mission, we've done the Dutch mission, and the Mickey. So the first 3 we've been through. That means we have 5 or 6 more to go. I think 5 in the Mombasa streets, and then there's like 3 back to back. So we're doing that, and then we'll move on to Cursed 4, I think, after that. In addition to that, we've had our Fragging Fridays, hosted by GT. We've been on Infinite. Might change us up this weekend because of a certain thing. I'll let GT chime in on that. So how have things been with Fragging Fridays lately?
Well, we took last week off because I felt like crap. Yeah, I was having a little trouble keeping my dinner down. Anyway.
See, this is going around. It's not a joke.
Well, it just, I think my dinner just didn't agree with me. No, I mean, we're having a lot of fun enjoying Infinite. What was the playlist 2 weeks ago?
Was it the Halloween one?
No, not the Halloween one. The one before that. Can't remember what that was.
Was there infection one before the Halloween one?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember. I didn't play any of the Halloween ones or the infection ones. I'm just sorry. I'm not an infection fan in any way, shape, or form as an infection game mode. Now, some of the custom game modes that are made with infection, I like Slenderman. I'm still waiting for somebody to come up with that one.
I'm surprised there's not that one. Like, I would imagine it would have been there.
Oh, what was that one that was in Halo 4 where it was all in the dark and you had to use the Promethean vision? Remember that one?
Yeah, was it called Slenderman? I know which one you're talking about, and it was on the island, right?
Yeah. I think it was Slenderman something. But
okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see that one come back because that was always fun. Yeah, that one would be good for a good jump scare.
There's plenty of streams where you hear me and a couple other people just get super rowdy with the shenanigans on that custom.
It is, you can't see where you're going. You kind of feel your way through the map. So you really don't have any real idea where you're at. And then the next thing you know, the infected one comes around the corner and kills you.
Was it Survive the Undead?
I don't remember what it was.
That was the one before the Halloween infection update. Was that Combat Workshop thing?
Yeah,
where you had the rounds. So that was the one before the Halloween update.
Maybe I'm thinking
a little bit further back.
3 game modes to go. But no, I mean, we're having a lot of fun with it. Like I said, 2 weeks ago, we actually had a pretty decent night. We had a pretty balanced win-loss ratio, so we're doing pretty good. We avoided all the big streamers.
That good.
That was the key part.
No accelerate this time.
No accelerate, and no Uberneck or any of those guys that just tend to wipe the floor with us.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks ago after you got off that we matched up against Accelerate on what's the new big TB Scar.
Yeah.
And it was Total Control. We do not play Total Control on that map. Well, we don't play. Our group does not play that map well at all. we like if that comes up, I don't think we've won a game, or if we have, we've won like maybe less than 10% of the games on Scar.
Yeah.
For our group that rocks on Friday nights.
it's
sad, but yeah.
We don't play because we're good.
No, we play to have fun.
And if you're watching my stream to see how to play Halo, don't.
I have my moments, but
we all have our moments, but they're just few and far between.
There is that. Well, very good. Are we going to continue the Infinite spree this weekend, or are we diving into some MCC because of Halo 2?
I don't know.
There's also the Halo 2 playlist on Infinite, so that's a hard one because we got the Halo 2.
Probably try the Halo 2 playlist on Infinite. At least depends on party size.
It is 4v4. I did play it a lot today just to get a feel for the new maps and the new weapon. I've got some feedback on that. I don't imagine you had a chance to try it yet.
No, I honestly, I totally forgot about them releasing the new weapon, and I wanted to try it. I just totally forgot about jumping in and trying it out today. We'll talk about it for some reason. I was watching YouTube and I got nostalgic to play some Halo 4.
Sometimes that's how it rolls.
I was watching a video about some guy that was complaining how bad Halo 4's graphics were, and I'm like, I will say that compared to some other games, not the best version of Halo, but it's still, when you consider what the game was built for.
It ran on a 360.
Exactly. When you consider what the game was built for
of that game,
it is beautiful.
Not to mention the in-game cutscenes.
I really wish they could have done better when they blew up the Covenant ship.
Some of the animations were definitely a little janky on some of that.
But they were also limited by hardware.
Yes.
As, they were pushing limits. Well, they put the limits on the 360 to the max on that game.
They really did. They pushed that a lot.
There was a lot of optimization going in that game. Some for the good, some for the not so good.
Yeah.
Like the weapon despawn rate was way too fast.
It's still too fast, I feel like. Because by the time I spawn and get to a weapon, it's already despawned. And I feel like
it's better than it was in 4 and 5. Yeah, 4 and 5 it's almost like as soon as you drop the weapon, it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
At least now in Infinite, there is, you may not get the weapon picked up, but someone on your team may still pick up the weapon. Before it's almost like as soon as it hit the ground, it disappeared.
I feel like Halo CE through 3, maybe even Reach, that weapon despawn was not, the cleanup was not real.
Oh yeah, the weapon, the despawn on the weapons in 1, 2, 3, Reach, ODST, it was minutes. I mean, literally. You could leave something laying on the ground for 5 minutes and still be there.
I mean, I can walk over a weapon, be like, oh, I want to go back and get it, and just strafe backwards, and it's gone. And I've even done the ping where it's like I do the little ping thing out to see where the weapon is. I do the ping, and then by the time I get to the weapon, 3 seconds later, it's already despawned. It's like, really?
Yeah.
It's like if I ping it, that should be like a refresh timer or something.
Yeah. Infinite still has a pretty fast despawn rate, but it's still better than it was in
4 and 5.
4 and 5. Those despawn rates were just way too high.
Well, 4 they had to do it because
or way too fast
of how much they were really pushing the 360 to its limit. So that kind of made sense.
Well, yeah, they just didn't have enough memory to be able to hold those models on the map for very long.
Yeah, they had to do routine cleanup on the cycle.
I mean, even like even vehicles, vehicle debris would disappear super fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where like in Infinite, it seems like vehicle debris doesn't disappear fast enough.
Well, and I think there's still issues on Infinite, if I'm not mistaken, that there's desync between some of the vehicle debris. Like you could be seeing vehicle debris, but someone else could not be seeing vehicle debris, and you can be getting hit, but you're shooting the vehicle debris, and yeah. So I think that's been identified as some issue too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't exactly remember, but yeah. So that's been our escapades into Halo as of late. Life stuff's been a little hectic, hence why we haven't had the podcast in a while. But thus is life. We're getting into the holiday season. We are officially in November, and all the Christmas music is out, and all the stores have all their Christmas stuff starting to be out there. So we're definitely into the holiday season at this point. We had a Halloween playlist, which GT mentioned. It was a update to Infection, Alpha Zombies. Not get a chance to play that. This week we have The Great Journey. So a throwback to Halo 2, with it being Halo 2 20 years since release, coming up this Saturday, which is hard to believe that Halo 2's been out for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me feel really old.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Anyways. So we've got a whole new playlist with new maps and modes that actually bring the Halo 2 experience kind of back to Halo. We've got collision now with everybody. So there's no more like phasing through people. You actually collide with not just enemies, but teammates in the updated playlist.
I wish they would just bring that back into the regular matchmaking.
Me too.
Because
BTB might be okay to have it without, but I think everything else, like 4v4 and maybe 8.
If they're going to block my shot, I want to be able to run into them.
I do see that argument, and I kind of agree. It's like if someone can phase through me as I'm trying to aim a rocket, and I shoot the rocket while they're halfway facing me, and it blows up in my face, and I commit suicide, that should not happen.
Yeah. If I can walk through them, I should be able to shoot through them.
Yeah. But I like bringing the collision back, so that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
They disabled clamber and sprinting, so the maps that were made for this specifically are also designed in such a way where it's a little bit more true to scale of the original maps. There are, I believe, 7 maps that got introduced for the playlist, the operation that's in here. One of them is actually being added as a new ranked map, which is I still don't like. I'll be one of the outcasts of the Halo community and say I don't like midship.
I liked the first 2 versions of midship, but now it's getting kind of old.
I like the Halo 5 version of it. I forget what that version specifically is called, but that one I was okay with.
Well, in Halo 5, there was 2 versions of it.
I'm talking about the release one, not the Forge one. I'm talking about the release one.
No, they were both release ones.
Okay, the one that's actually in the ship,
sorry,
not the
inspired by midship. Okay, because you had the one that was actually the purple map, and then you had one that was the outdoor.
Yeah, the crash ship version.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Midship is a good map, but it's overdone. I mean, every single game has had a version of Midship.
Did Halo 4 have one?
Forged.
I mean, other than
No, I mean, somebody.
Okay.
I'm not saying it came with the map. It came with the game. Somebody's made it in every single game, and then it inevitably winds up in matchmaking.
Maps. I mean, Beaver Creek's the same way. Sanctuary is the same way.
Well, Sanctuary not as much.
There's been a Sanctuary in every game.
Yeah, but it hasn't made it into the multiplayer in every game.
You mean as far as
into the actual matchmaking?
I see.
Where Midship has in every single version.
That's fair.
Since Forge existed, since the map was originally released, it has made it into matchmaking. Where Sanctuary, we've only had the 3 versions: the original, the remake, and
it was in Reach because it was in the
yeah. It was Forge Creation in Reach.
Yep,
and then it was remade and put into matchmaking.
It was made as a DLC in 3. Heretic,
right?
But I mean,
Heretic had enough differences in it that it didn't feel exactly the same.
It still felt like Midship to me.
Well, no, I'm talking about Sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's great. It's nostalgic for Halo 2, but
it is.
Yeah. Honestly, I like what they did with Wizard.
Yeah, it's called Conjurer.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Ancient Ruins, which is really cool. Inquisitor is the new midship made by Unique. Surprise, surprise. Serenity is also made by Unique. That's the Sanctuary remake. There is Canopy, which is the Lockout remake, also made by Unique. The Unique make all these, but 2 of them. Okay. There's Beaver Canyon, Boulevard, which is Turf. There's Ascension, and yeah, that's it. And I've played on every map except for Ascension and Conjurer, which is the Wizard remake. Pretty good remakes. The remakes are more akin to the Halo Reach CE pack ones. So like the Beaver Creek one has the tunnels underneath the arch and behind
the Battle Creek version. Wasn't it Battle Creek in Reach? Not Beaver Creek.
So it was Battle Canyon in 1, Beaver Creek in 2. I forget what the Reach one specifically was called. Beaver Canyon.
This just reminded me when you were talking about Wizard. There have been some changes made to active camo. Yep. Active camo will now not interact with the flag.
Oh, yes. So if your active camo,
so our situation that we came across 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
We are sitting there. Story. Me and Bobby, we both have rocket launchers pointed at the flag, and in the millisecond it took me to pull the trigger, he disappeared. The flag just evaporated. We totally picked the wrong way to fire. Which is...
I forgot about that map.
I mean, the rocket should have been close enough to light up his shields at least.
Bobby went back into theater and actually...
Yeah, I did too. And I watched it, and I'm like, my first rocket should have been close enough to light him up.
Did he have thruster?
No. He had active camo.
The timing
he just walked out. No, because if he'd have thrusted, he'd have lit up. But anyway,
that's crazy.
Now, active camo will not hide the flag. So you will see a flag walking by itself.
Which I believe is in line with the traditional games. Where
yes, it is.
If you had active camo, it will not camo the flag. Well, that's nice that they have that flexibility. I know the game's not that flexible with how crazy Infinite is. But it's cool to see that they can just drop that back in.
Yeah. So that's
more options for custom games to set things up.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sad to see it go because I have pulled that trick many times. Pop active camo and then just walk the flag back to the other end of the map.
Ideally, it's just a setting that you can set in custom games or Forge. I don't know what.
Well, I mean, for
falls
matchmaking,
into.
like in custom games, okay, but matchmaking.
So, do they change it for all of matchmaking or just this playlist?
From the way it sounds, it's all of matchmaking.
Okay. I haven't dug into all the details yet within the update, so
I guess we'll find out tomorrow night. We'll jump because I'm sure we'll wind up in big team.
We'll probably have enough to jump into that. Yes, if I'm able to join. Well,
because usually the 4v4 playlist lasts for about the first 30
minutes.
Game, maybe 2 games.
Always split the party.
And but yeah, it's I'll be interested to see what that does and if it truly is a problem or if it's something they fixed. I mean, not a problem, something they fixed.
Yeah. Aside from the new maps, we also have a third person view that got introduced into the update. So we have that in a firefight playlist. You can also enable it in custom games. There are some issues that have been identified by plenty of folks. There is the corner peeking, so you're, of course, third-person shooter. You have kind of an offset of your player model and the weapon. Right now, with how it works, you can actually kind of shoot around corners, so you can have your reticle off to the side, but your body is behind it, and you can still you can kind of shoot through walls, basically.
Well, considering they're modifying something that was intended for debugging, there's going to be some things that don't get set correctly.
Yeah. So things to fix, and this is kind of a more or less a beta type of feature. They're releasing it out there to see what people think of it, get some feedback on it. I'm surprised that wasn't caught in early testing. I mean, maybe it was and it was identified as a bug and they just decided to put it out. It's like, let's just see what the community does with it. I like that they, for matchmaking, only have it in Firefight because that doesn't really affect the competitive nature of things. I'm hoping they can improve it to maybe have a PvP mode, maybe a little bit more of an arcade style playlist that they could come up with and drop it in there and see what you could do with a third person view for some different game modes. Maybe bring in more of the traditional action sack type things, a lot more of the open wacky game modes, and throw third person on there and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see playing Griffball third person to be interesting.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
But yeah, as far as regular matchmaking, they can just keep that out of there. I don't buy a first person shooter to play third person shooting games. I mean, it's one thing when it's custom or, you have to pick up a certain thing, right. Like, you have to be in a vehicle or something like that to go to the third person view. But
if anything, it opens up additional ways to create experiences in the game, especially for forgers.
Mm-hmm.
Let them utilize the tools, make an experience, and if the community really likes that experience, then put that experience into matchmaking with third person. Don't try to force the other aspects of what Halo has been known for, which is first person shooter.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of forgers, they got a laundry list of updates too.
Yeah, third person camera, obviously being a big one. Improved forger attribution stuff, so whenever you hit the pause screen or during the intro video, there's additional things that you can do to interact with it. So you get the map creator on the loading of the screen. There's now a little section that says map and creator. You can see who it is there. On the pause screen, you can bookmark the map and the mode now, even in the middle of the game. You don't have to wait till the end of the game. You can do it at the end of the game too, but now in the middle of the game, you can bookmark the game mode and the map. Really good for custom nights when it's like, oh, let's try this one. And then you can just add it to your bookmark straight from playing it. If you join a customs lobby, you go join Blintz and get your head taken off, it's like, oh, this map is really cool. Bookmark it right then and there. It's also on the scoreboard and the post-game cards report. You can find the details of the map there as well. Some additional voice lines have been added from Commander Agrina. Some sandbox updates, different changes, tweaks to the sidekick, the commando, like you mentioned, active camo, and also thruster, where you cannot shoot as quickly coming out of the thruster pack. Seen a lot of back and forth discussion on that, as some of the more competitive YouTubers and content creators have been getting their hands on it and trying it out. There's still a lot of early feelings about it, but I'm sure there's going to be lots of changes to tweak the fine-tuning of those changes as things move on out.
Honestly, I haven't really had an issue with it the way it was. It wasn't as bad as it was in other Halo games before they changed it.
Well, I feel like Halo 5 you thrusted and you had a pretty decent delay.
Yeah.
Before you could
like
shoot
I said, well, yeah, but like in the beta, it wasn't. I mean, you thrust and your gun was immediately available. And then when the game launched, they had changed they gave it a little bit of a delay. Same with, sliding. They increased the delay a little bit so that when you're coming out of a slide, there's a little bit more time before your gun is up and ready. But like I said, in Infinite, I hadn't really noticed it. The only time I really, the inconsistency of certain things like the hammer and rocket launchers. I don't know what it is, but for me, those two weapons are probably the two most inconsistent weapons in the entire game. For me,
rocket launcher to me, it just seems like the explosion radius is smaller compared to previous games, which is why I can never seem to get.
It's tiny.
Yeah, the splash on it, like the damage is more focused on the impact point instead of being a little bit more broad. So that throws me off.
It almost goes straight up from where it explodes. Because traditionally in Halo, if you were using the rocket launcher against a biped, you would shoot the floor.
Yeah.
Or you'd shoot the wall. But now you almost have to shoot the biped to ensure a kill.
Or have to be pretty dang close.
And with the hammer, there's this, and I'm just talking the standard hammer. I'm not talking about the campaign versions. There is this fine line in this 10-degree wedge that starts 200 feet from where you are, where you can secure a kill. And it just feels like it's, you swing the hammer, you should get a kill. When you're within the length of the freaking handle. But no, it doesn't work that way. You've got to be
damage is like a cone that goes out.
You've got to be just double the distance back for it to get a kill. There are some nights that for some reason it works for me, and there's some nights that most of the time it just doesn't. I rarely, like, even in Fiesta, if I have a hammer, I honestly, unless I'm hiding around a corner, I don't even use the stupid thing. Because, in my opinion, if you drop the hammer on the other guy's head, it should kill him.
It should, but if they're under you a certain amount or over you a certain amount, like there's a weird cone.
But
that you have to
see. That's just it's the same thing. I will be what perceives to be that same distance away from him, and I'm insta-dead.
I got that feeling too, where I feel like I've swung the hammer. You should be dead.
Yeah.
But you swung the hammer and I'm dead.
Above and to the left or the right of the swing, and all of a sudden I'm dead. It's like there's just this inconsistency of the way they work as far as in my brain that
I wonder if part of that's
really
because of the
me.
netcode issue of
I know part of it
client preferred, which still blows my mind.
Yeah. part of me is, part of it is me. I mean, I haven't put in the time to work with Hammer to really learn it, which a lot of other people have. I just choose to ignore it. But the whole rocket thing, I'm sorry. Yeah, if I shoot the ground at somebody's feet, they should die. If I shoot somebody within the visual explosion range of the rocket launcher, they should die.
That explosion radius is a lot smaller, I feel like, than it has been in previous games. That's the feeling I get, at least. You've got weapon and armor packs within the operation stuff, and there's also stuff in the new store, microtransaction stuff, yada, yada, yada. There is another little Waypoint Chronicle that was posted, Halo Age of Retribution, that's coming out tomorrow. And on the competitive side of things, we mentioned that there's 2 new maps, one of them being Inquisitor, which is the midship remake. CTF and Slayer are going to be added on that one. And then Fortress, which is a little kind of fortress castle type map, is also being added to competitive as well. They removed Argyle, CTF, Interference, King of the Hill, Slayer, and Strongholds. And I think that's kind of the main content update stuff that we've had for Halo Infinite. HCS has turned 10 years, which is wild to think that's been going on for 10 years. Starting first back with ESL. The HCS Twitter has been posting stuff since the finals of HCS for this year on Halo, the history of HCS, some important moments. So if you are into that, you probably noticed a lot of that stuff going on. And there's been lots of roster changes over the last month or so that has kind of had the competitive community in a frenzy of like, what the heck is going on? Halo Waypoint has a thread of history for HCS if you want to go over there and see everything that they've posted, kind of celebrating 10 years of HCS, which was this past Tuesday. There you go. Some interesting things that are possibly coming down the road for Infinite. There's some new weapons and vehicles and equipment that have made their way into the files of the game, which has caught the attention of a lot of modders and content creators. The rumored double barrel banished shotgun is in there, and it's actually playable in Forge somehow. So take of that what you will. Mint Blitz has a video on it if you want to go check it out. There's also the Falcon, which has been teased for a while and kind of sought after by the data miners. That has a in-game model and a reference to a new piece of equipment, some new voice lines, some new audio files. So there's potentially a lot of content coming for Halo Infinite. For those that thought they were done with Halo Infinite, it definitely doesn't seem that way.
No, they've shown that they want to continue to develop the game. It's
just
not
such that they fired everybody before getting to that point.
Just not in the way that we initially thought. We knew they were going to develop on the multiplayer side, but we were hoping they were also going to develop on the PvE side. More campaign, extended campaigns, Spartan Ops type situation, whatever. So, with the changes that they're making, and I can't believe I don't even want to really say this. The next Halo game is going to be different in the way they develop for it, in the amount of content that is there, or the amount of content that is developed for it. But I'm still, like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath on it. I'm not even sure if they offer a legendary version, which they haven't. They didn't list have one for Infinite. That I'll even buy it. If they have a cool statue with it, then I probably will buy it. That's one thing I really wish they would have, the tradition they would have continued. I really like getting the statues.
The statues are cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I really wish I had a better way to display them. I'm kind of working on something, but I just haven't got it developed yet. I'm thinking, back here in this corner to cover up my nice gross wall. See? Isn't it nasty? Anyway, finally getting my statues out and actually displaying them. Because right now they live in their boxes. I don't have any place to put them. Definitely no place safe to put them. It's when you have four-legged furries running around, you got to be careful about that kind of stuff.
Yep, things get
especially if
things get eaten. Yeah,
or they're about this long and they purr. You really don't want to have anything that they could knock off a shelf. Yeah. But anyway, I would like to see that tradition come back. But yeah, I mean, I had no doubt that they were going to continue to developing for Infinite. I just wasn't sure what the pace was going to be and how quickly they were going to bring new items in.
I'm happy that things are finally starting to come in other than cosmetics and forge maps.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are probably the easiest thing that you can do to add content. And people have criticized 343 for that. And there's a lot of discussion about, well, you're using Forger's content. Why don't you kind of supplement all the work that they're doing for you? Which I kind of get, but at the same time, they're not telling Forgers to go out and make these maps. Like I feel like if they really needed people to go out and make maps, they would probably pay for it. But since the community's kind of putting their own time and effort into it,
no, I'm sure they're putting out ideas like this is what we're looking for.
With how much Unique has been putting out map designs, I would hope that he'd be one of the first in line to get paid.
Yeah.
Because how many of his maps have been in matchmaking?
I would like to see them put more effort into building maps
Native
for
maps.
the game.
Yeah.
Not even really native maps. I mean, if they wanted to forge a map and put it in there, fine. But
well, who is the studio they contracted to make forge maps that weren't great? Saber or something like that?
I love that they embrace the community and they like to show off the community's work. And that's great. But we didn't buy the game for the community's work. We bought the game for your work. So I would like to see them bring in one or two maps a year. Something that they created, not something that was forged by, some random person on the internet. I'm not knocking the forgers because they're knocking it out of the park. Every single one of those forge maps are great. They play well. They're very well tuned. It's great to see.
Well, and they go through a rigorous process to get tuned for matchmaking anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work. I mean, it's not just drag and drop.
No.
The studio has to verify a lot of things before they can put it into matchmaking. And there is a lot of testing that is done before they put a forge map into matchmaking. I mean, they literally try to break the map. And, there's many playtests they put it through. And the point of the playtest is to break the map. Find things that give someone an unfair advantage, or, find a way to get out of the map, or just find something, some type of glitch with, the forged objects. Yeah. So, they do a lot of work on that. And back when we hosted our little tournament, our Fiesta tournament, we got a taste of that. And it's not easy.
Nope. Had to go in and edit a map on the fly to put in the kill zone because someone found a sneaky spot.
Yeah. We played, we had like 3 or 4 test sessions, wasn't it?
We had the judging
had 2 test sessions, but they did multiple test sessions on them.
Yeah. We just were there for the judging parts of it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we did do some we did participate in some of the testing, looking for stuff that's broken. And I learned very quickly that I am well and truly out of my element for that.
It takes a skill set to really be able
Well,
to
I mean,
dive
it takes a determination to do that. I mean, you have to be pretty dedicated to be able to find stuff like that in maps.
I think some of the forgers have just been doing it for so long they know what to look for.
That is one of the benefits of working with the guys we worked with, is they've been doing this long enough. They're like, oh, yeah, that looks a little suspicious. Let's try that one. Let's see if we can get up over there. Let's do a day jump and see if we can get on top of that. Or, can we get through this space with a thruster? It's like, so there's a lot there. And I really respect the teams that do that. But I would like to see some of their work. And I know they do a lot of work on the back end. And with the reduced staff,
some of the forgers at least forge their creations, and I know some of them will dive into, this is why I'm putting certain things there. I know Unique streams quite often. Forge Hub has some different Forge streams. I think they host every now and then.
They host every week. At least they've been popping up in my feed.
But I think they're mostly playing game nights. I don't think they're actively forging for most of those streams.
Well, no, they're most of them are. I'd have to look
play testing Forge
but I
maps.
think they're play testing Forge maps. Yeah, that's what they call their Forge Friday. I think is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through my YouTube feed right now. But yeah, I mean it's stuff like that just you really. It takes a dedication to do it.
It really does. And there's talented people out there who are fantastic at that stuff. And thankfully he's been giving us content. We still need to make our Team Bubble Bath map.
Yeah. Any forgers want to volunteer for that one?
All needlers. And whatever
now if we could just dual wield in Infinite.
The crazy thing now with the new MA 5K, the new weapon that they just dropped, with how rapid fire that is, replacing the projectiles with Needler on that weapon. Interesting. Oh my! Like, we tried Team Bubble Bath on. Did we do it on 5? I think we tried it on 5 at one point, and it made Halo 5 struggle at certain points. Like, it kept up pretty well, but we got it to struggle. I'd be curious to see if we could get Infinite to struggle with Team Bubble Bath.
Well, we were playing that, and I was on my Scorpio, my Xbox One Scorpio, and I mean, it had that thing chugging.
I wonder if that's partly an engine limitation than necessarily the hardware.
And then a little later, I was playing it on my Xbox One.
Oh,
it was still made that chug.
Well, the Xbox One's it's worse than Scorpio.
Or I'm sorry, my Series. My Series didn't.
Series X.
It didn't. It made there was a noticeable frame drop. Let's put it that way. It was nowhere near the Scorpio. I mean, the Scorpio. I mean, literally, my character model would stop moving. And some of the other people that were playing on the first generation Xbox Ones, they just done.
Your Xbox frames wouldn't
game crash done
7 seconds. Yeah.
Which is absolutely hilarious. It's something, a game mode that is so simple can wreak so much havoc on hardware.
All the explosion animations, all the needle projectiles to track and calculate the physics on, and the tracking magnetism.
I'd be interested to see how those dedicated servers handle that.
Yeah.
Microsoft, you may want to check into that cooling solution you have for those. We might be putting it to the limit, putting it to the test.
There's this one group that's loading this one custom that's crashing all of our servers. It'd be fun. Well, that's the updates that we're going to get through today. All the new stuff coming to Halo Infinite, celebration of Halo 2's 20-year anniversary, which is insane that we're at this point of Halo's career that were 20
Mhm.
years for Halo 2. The level 50 LAN is coming up this weekend as well, being hosted on Saturday. There's plenty of other communities that are hosting game nights on Saturdays. We have responsibilities. We will not be hosting something on Saturday. We might jump into some other things on Saturday, but we are not hosting anything on Saturday.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will be working.
And I've got other responsibilities.
Then here, not next week, but the week after that, between time off and everything, I will not see my manager for like 2.5 weeks.
So you're responsible.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unlimited power.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they turned off my ability to buy lunch for the store. End of year penny pitching.
Oh, okay.
I can't make the store buy food anymore, or I get in trouble. Well, technically, I won't, but I'll hear about it.
What about team building and team lunches? You gotta have those quarterly
team building
exercises.
Not when it's the last quarter of the year. It's cut every expense possible so it looks good on the books.
Yeah. For those that joined up in Twitch, thank you all for dropping by. We had a couple of glitches. I was trying to do the stage stream on Discord, which added some overhead that I don't think my streaming PC was up for. So the stream crashed, but we'll have the podcast out in audio form for those that didn't catch the full stream. Sorry about that. Trying something new. Didn't quite work out as well as I thought it would be. We'll keep on working on it.
We have some ideas that might make that work a little bit better.
We do? Okay.
As soon as we're done with the stream.
Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all on hopefully whenever game night's coming up. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. You can find our podcast on your favorite podcasting service and listen to us live every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Check out our website, podtacular.com, and join the community on Discord at podtacular.com/discord. If you want to play Halo with us, come join us for Fraggin' Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Become a supporter of the show by sharing the show with your friends and family. Or help keep the lights on by subscribing to us on Twitch, donating via PayPal, or becoming a patron alongside Confowl, Pins Halo, and Prestige Ace. Until next time, keep on fragging trucks.